Okay, guys. Well, I am back and I am really excited about my guest. You know him. He's my dear friend Peter Adams, and he has a new book entitled Shattering the Illusion of Disease, The Seven Steps to Reclaiming Your Perfect Health. So, if you know of anybody who has been sick or not feeling well or might be receiving chemotherapy or might have gotten a difficult report back from the doctor, we are here to share with you some insight to how to reclaim your perfect health. So, Peter Adams, welcome back again and again and again to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
Well, thanks, Constance. It's great to be back in your show again and again and again. I love it, and it's great because it's so much fun when I am on your show. And I know you're reaching out to a lot of people, helping a lot of people, and I'm just blessed to know you. And thanks so much for inviting me on.
Well, I'm really grateful to know you and Robin, and I just wanted to tell the listeners something about you and your wife. Pete called me up one day. He said, "Well, Constance, I want to help build your YouTube channel." And I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "I'm gonna take your shows and I'm gonna upload them to YouTube." And I think does it take 2 hours to do that to convert from whatever that is to YouTube. And he's been doing that for weeks for me, he and Robin. And I asked him, "What made you do that?" And he said to me, he said, "Well, Constance, I just want to help you uh, build up your business because helping you is helping myself." And I just love that principle. And most people don't do that. And so, Pete, I just want to publicly thank you because I mean Pete don't have to work another day in his life. He could go skiing out there in California every day. But it's the principle of when you help people get what they desire, God will come and bless your life and your business.
Ooh, well, thanks, Constance. I didn't expect the big plug there, but thank you so much. Yeah, it's really just it's just a joy for Rob and I to help you because we know that you're doing great work, and if we can make your show more successful, well, you know what, the planet is going to be a better place because you're making a difference, and if we can help in any way, we're blessed to be able to do that.
Because some days you spend like 4 and 5 hours uploading that stuff, right, Pete?
Constance, some days it's more than that. To tell you the truth.
And
So
I'm like, Pete, take a break, go and have lunch. But they're doing it out of love. And the principle, folks, is instead of you trying to get, how about finding somebody to pour into their lives? And I, I'm just grateful because he doesn't really he's not trying to get something from me. He just wants to help me.
Oh, you haven't got the bill yet, Constance. Just kidding. No, it's yeah, it's just fun, and and I do have to apologize to a couple of listeners that have been on your YouTube channel because every now and then I don't do a perfect job, and the video and the audio needs to be re-recorded. So I apologize to you guys for that.
Wow. And here Pete is. He's a baller. He don't ever have to work another day in his life. And he made that decision. So ladies and gentlemen, look around your life and see who you can pour into to help them get what they want. And then the universal law, Einstein said it. He talked about the boomerang effect and he said everything moves in circles and whatever you give out to somebody else will come back and bless your life.
Ooh, well, that's the absolute truth, Constance, and for the listeners, real world. Most of the people out there are trying to get for us and then give. Well,
Hmm.
give for us, and you're going to get a whole lot more. Trust me on that.
Yeah. Well, your book is so interesting. So let's talk about it. Shattering the illusion of disease, the 7 steps to reclaiming your perfect health. So, what prompted you to write this new book?
Well, Constance, it goes back to January of this past, well, actually, the January of this year, and as you call it, you say every now and then you get a download. Well,
Hmm.
Constance, I got a download that was just unbelievable. It came directly from Spirit. And essentially just told me directly that disease is actually an illusion that we create with our thoughts. It's not anything, it's not even real, but we think it's real. And it came to me that it's just an illusion. And if you create it with your mind, you can uncreate it with your mind. And I thought about that throughout the next day. And I realized that Spirit wouldn't give me this information if they didn't think he or she or whatever didn't think I was going to share it with everyone. So I realized that it was I had to write a book because that's the only way I know off the top of my head to reach a lot of folks. And so I wrote the book, and it's basically it was it was a download from Spirit, and the information I got is what I'm sharing with everyone in the book.
Well, honey, I got some questions for you because I can just hear my listeners. Maybe somebody who's going to chemo every day, or who has to get dialysis. And so we're not here to blame. We're here to just really just share some stuff with. And so, Pete, I know you did work in the health field. What was that like for you?
Sure,
And,
Constance.
and what did
Yeah,
you do?
okay. Well, just to reiterate what you just said, Constance, it's just like, if you're, to anyone out there, if you're not feeling well right now, it's, we're not here to point fingers, but, we just want you to understand, how what's going on so you can take steps yourself to rid yourself of that illusion. But to get back to the question about healthcare, I worked in the healthcare, Constance, for about just over 6 years. And I was always on the business side of it. I was a financial analyst for a while, and then I was a director of finance. And I worked for both a practice management company, and then I ended up working for one of the largest actually for-profit hospital companies in the country. So I saw a lot of the business side of it, and it's one of the things I just need to share with everyone is it's a business whether you think it is or not.
And so, do you feel like that, let's just get real, that not the whole, but a lot of healthcare is about putting people on medicine and it's a business? Because I know here in the U.S., I had a friend from Africa, and he was like, I've never seen so many commercials on medicine before and prescriptions you should ask your doctor for.
Wow, Constance, that is so true because most people don't realize that that's a unique thing for the United States and also for New Zealand. It's called direct to consumer advertising, and if anyone's even watched TV in the last 2 years or whatever, I mean, the only commercials on TV are pretty much drug commercials. It's unbelievable, and and they were banned for years because of what basically I call a self-fulfilling prophecy, or it's truly the power of suggestion. And what's going on, guys? It's like you're getting bombarded by those commercials about drugs, and it's planting the seed in your head that you might need this drug for whatever reason, and you don't. But what they've realized, if you look at the actually numbers, the amount of advertising has exploded because it works so well on those drug commercials. That's why you see so many of those commercials now, because people are planting the seed that they need this drug, whether they do or not, but they believe they do, so hence they do, and they go to see the doctor, then they start taking this prescription. And in all the other countries in the world, they know how powerful suggestion is, and they don't allow it. It's against the law. And it should be against the law in the United States and New Zealand, in my opinion, because all you're doing is trying to convince people to take their drugs and convince people that they're sick when they're not.
Well, when I hear something on TV and they may say, uh, flu season has come up and you better so and so, I say out loud, not me, and my dog sort of looks at me, I'm already healed and whole. I mean, I just say it out loud because you're so right. Subliminally and subconsciously, when people hear that, it really impacts them.
Oh, that is so true, Constance. And I think I wrote a blog post on this before. It's just like I pretty much Rob and I are watching television, we almost have the remote in our hand because we are always grabbing the mute button. So it's just like when those commercials come on, just hit the mute button. I mean, don't even look at the television set because, it's just one of those things that it's just like, don't allow it into your experience. And like Constance said, affirm that you have perfect health. And one of the things I talk about in the book is actually about flu shots. I'm glad you brought that up because one of the weirdest things is like, especially in where there's high concentrations of elderly people, they keep bombarding these. Oh, you need this flu shot, or you could die from the flu, or it'll make it like not as bad if you do get the flu. Well, it's like I know people have gotten the flu shot every year, and every year they get the flu. It's just like, and then it's almost like then they get sick, and then they have to go see the doctor, and it's almost like they give the flu shot out there to get more people the flu to generate more revenue. I mean, I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people, but if you're working the business side of healthcare, you'd see through it. And it's just one of those. It was funny because one of Rob's friends last week went to I think it was like one of the local pharmacies here that was doing the flu shot thing, and she asked the lady, do you want the under 50 flu shot or the over 50 flu shot? And the only difference between the over 50 flu shot and the under 50 flu shot was $30 charge. It was crazy. So the only difference was the money. I mean, it's insanity, pretty much out of control. But I'll pass it back to you on that one.
Well, and we're going to get to some of the steps, but just even in my own life personally, I was in the drugstore, and they said, "Well, have you had your shot?" And this is what I said. I said, "You know something? I never get sick."
Perfect.
And I said, I never get a cold. And they just looked at me. I said, I'm healthy and healed. And that doesn't mean that things have not tried to come on me. But I'm just going to tell you from a Christian perspective, if we believe that we are already healed, the Bible says, let the sick say I'm strong. Let the weak say I'm strong. And so even if I do kind of feel something coming on, I start talking out loud and affirm, oh, no, I'm whole. I'm healed. Now I may have to do some natural things, get sleep and other things to line up. But what Peter and I are saying is that really what you hear and what you see really shapes your beliefs around sickness and disease.
Oh, Constance, that's so perfect because a lot of times people, it's like, they start feeling like something's coming on, and then, they want to get some chicken soup and jump under the covers. Mm-hmm. And what Constance is saying is like, no, I have perfect health. That's why Constance is never sick. And like myself, I haven't had a cold or anything since 1998 or 9 when I did my first Ironman. That's how far back it was. And I remember it because it has been that long. And, I'm nothing special. We all have this, natural ability to have perfect health. And that's what Constance and I are going to talk about more today.
Okay. And you know what I do? I take healing scriptures and I speak it out. And it doesn't mean that I don't sometimes feel something. Okay. I'll use just what happened, Pete, a couple of weeks ago. It sort of got cool here in Atlanta. And I don't like to sleep with a lot of heat, but somehow that night, obviously, I had too much heat on. And usually I like to sleep with it really cool. So I woke up with a really stuffy nose, and I had all kind of feelings and emotions around that. But when I put my feet on the floor, I'm like, wow, I'm alert. I feel good. I'm going to have just health and vitality going through this day and whatever. And then I just align my thinking, what I believed all day long, to my confession. That just happened to me.
That's perfect, Constance, because what that shows it's really the power of your word, and it's your words are so powerful. You can't even imagine it. It's like if you speak out loud, like Constance said, she rolled out of bed and didn't know if she was starting to feel a little bit not so hot, and she's like, no, I feel great, I'm on it, and the rest of her day went well, and she felt great, and it's just really. It comes up to making those little decisions, and where do you want to go? Do you want to affirm that you're healthy and like have great vitality, or do you want to, oh, woe is me, and I'm always sick kind of thing? And guess what shows up? More
Okay.
of that.
Okay. So you've written a couple of other books. How does the book differ from the other?
Well, the first two books, Constance, were really using the law of attraction for manifesting abundance and success. Well, more of those things. But this time around, it's about the new book is about using the law of attraction specifically for healing and health. So it's like I kind of danced around it a little bit on the other two books because we're really using all the same principles, but I just wanted to really expand on the illusion of disease and getting rid of it because we're not here to suffer, and if you're suffering right now, that's spirit telling you something's wrong, and because you came here to have an amazing experience, and the part of that experience does not need to include not feeling good. I mean, that's so it's like you don't have to live that way is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and even the Bible says that God came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And so if you're not feeling well, or if you're sick, or if you don't have your health, you can't really enjoy and embrace life. I mean, my youngest brother just went through something. All of you guys know it because I asked y'all for prayer, and he was in rehab to learn to walk again. And that just made me peep more crazy and fanatical about my healing and my health, and just how grateful I am for it.
Well, that's something that I'm so aware of too, Constance, because it's like I'll see people out there suffering, and when they don't have to, and it's just like one of the challenges to everyone listening to the show today is like, it's I can have great thoughts and wish the best for you, but really it's like healing and working with spirit or working with God, however you want to put it. It's really an eternal thing between you and spirit, and it's like, and there's nothing spirit can't do. So no matter what your situation is right now, it can change in a heartbeat. So don't focus on the appearances of what seems to be your reality on the surface right now. It can all change for the better right now. So
Right.
don't get discouraged.
And Pete, you said something profound, and we want to say to people, if you're going through more, if you're sick or you've got just a difficult report from a doctor, it's you working with God, it's you working with spirit and the miraculous way that things can happen. I was reading something the other day. It said, "Who can fathom the ways of God?" That's deep. And so if you need healing, God can just say, start taking this herb or whatever, and things can happen. So Pete, do you believe people can have miraculous healings?
Oh,
With the
absolutely, absolutely, Constance. And I'll share a story that with all the listeners that I
okay.
shared with you earlier. A few years back, I met a lady, and she told me her story directly. And what it came down to was this woman was around 40 years old at the time, and she had some health challenges pretty much most of her life. And what ended up happening is she ended up getting sicker and sicker as she held on to these negative emotions from her past, which was tragic, but she wouldn't release them. And what it ended up happening to her was that she ended up to the point where she was on death's bed. She was actually in hospice. So this woman was in hospice, and they're all waiting for her to transition. And then all of a sudden, told me, she's like, the words came into her that you're not sick anymore and you need to get out of here. What are you doing? And so the lady just sat up in bed, and then she told the people in hospice that she's healed. And the people in hospice thought she was delusional. They're like, no, you're gonna die. You're sick. You're gonna die. Just suck it up, whatever. And she's like, no. And she had a fight to get out of the hospice, and she did. And then she had a follow-up checkup with her physician, and the physician is like, I can't find any trace of the disease. It's like you never had it. So you don't wait till you get into hospice to make a change. Make the change before you ever get there. Don't ever go there if you can avoid it. But it was amazing because I heard the story first and I totally got it. And I was just like, that's amazing.
Mhm.
And what kills me, Constance, is just like, these are the stories that need to get out. I mean, you don't
Right.
hear about the miraculous healing thing. All you hear about on like television is how bad it is, and it's only getting worse.
Right.
Keep watching the twos. Stay tuned.
And I want to say before we get into these 7 steps to reclaim your perfect health, is that if you're on medicine right now, keep taking your meds and just be led by the spirit as what you should do. Um, I never judge people what they're taking, but eventually, I believe that you can begin to possibly get off of meds and get on something more organic or whatever. I don't know what your pathway is for perfect health. Everybody got their own, but just be open to what we're saying today. And then, like Spirit spoke to that woman in hospital, Spirit can speak to you.
That's perfect, Constance. Because that just like Constance said, we're not. I'm not telling you to stop taking your medicine or anything like
Hmm.
that. All I'm saying is start working with spirit.
Yeah.
Because if you want to get results, you're gonna get results from spirit. Like you can't believe in a good way. And and another thing too is just like I said, I worked 6 years in healthcare. It's like I know some of these physicians that I've met and experienced. It's just they have this idea that they're speaking the gospel. Like I've seen them tell people like friends of mine, basically get your affairs in order because you got 6 weeks to live. And it's just like there's nothing that gets me more angry than that because they're not God and they have no right telling people that. And unfortunately, people will believe what they hear as being gospel when it's not, and then they transition right on time. So it's just like you can let them say what they want to say, but do not think for 1 second that it is written in stone because it's not. You can have the miraculous healing right now. You don't need to wait till like the last breaths of your life to reclaim it. It's just like take everything you hear with a grain of salt is all I can tell you guys.
Yeah. Because I always say God has the last word to do. Okay, Pete. Let's start out step number one. What's step one for reclaiming your health?
Okay, Constance, thanks. The guys the gals who've read my other two books, what you're gonna realize is we're really talking about the same 7 steps. So it's just like what the same 7 steps for success, the same 7 steps for perfect healing. And the biggest thing is like you need to decide to have perfect health. That's important to you. And the thing, what I usually do with that is I always put down, why do I want this thing? And it's like, well, why do you want perfect health? Of course, it's like, so I feel better. So I have more of an active life. So I have more fun, with my family and my friends. I mean, the whys are really easy on getting perfect health. And then once you decide that, you're in it to win it, then you're going to need to make a decision about, what methodology do you think is going to work best for you? Because I can tell you something, but if you don't believe it, it doesn't really matter. So it's just like you need to pick a methodology that you honestly believe will give you the best results, whether that be Western medicine, Eastern medicine, holistic medicine, or working with spirit and using creative thought and deliberate creation, or a combination of all the above. But always work with spirit because that's the quickest way to hit payday. That's it.
Right. And so when you said decide, Pete, I don't know anybody who doesn't want perfect health. So, but when you started explaining about why, so I can feel better, so I can play with my grandchildren, so I can embrace life, just saying and writing down those things, I feel like just help to begin to paint a clear picture of the importance of why they want what they want.
Exactly, Constance. It's because most people don't think about. I don't know. Most people just don't think. That's really what it comes down to. It's just most people just kind of bob along in their day. But it's like, for this, when you're working with law of attraction, you're working with spirit, you're working with God. It's just like one of the most powerful things is you've got to make the decision. Because it's all about you, and you need to know why. You need to know why you desire perfect health, and and having those powerful whys is going to make you work towards achieving those goals.
I use me as an example. I just had a birthday last week. Thanks, guys, for all of your birthday greetings. And I decided, I'm in great shape, and I'm like, but I want to release 5 more pounds. I just made a decision. And so I decided I'm not gonna I'm not gonna eat bread for a while. I'm not gonna bring it in my house. I just made some decision about some things because I said I'm gonna release 5 pounds, and that may seem very small, but they say that if you release 10 pounds, it lower your blood pressure to the point that you don't have to even take blood pressure medication if you're on it for some people. So I'm just saying that's just one area where I made a decision, and the pathway, and I believe God does have a perfect pathway for all of us to reclaim our perfect health. I'm going to let bread go for a while. That don't mean that I won't ever not eat bread again. I'm letting sweets go for a while, and those I just decided that just last week.
Constance, that's perfect because it goes right into the next step, which is action. And
Okay.
what Constance, and just like Constance just said, she decided she's going to release 5 more pounds. And what was the action? The next thing was she took the action. She's like, I'm not bringing bread home. And that's the easiest
Mm,
way to do it. It's just like, if you don't bring it home, it's not there. So the temptation's gone because, you don't feel like going, you're not going to go back out to the store to get bread when already made the decision that you are going to lose 5 pounds of weight. And the action is just like, yeah, you got to take the action. So once you make the decision, the next step is action. And when I talk about action, I talk about action on both the physical and spiritual planes because you got to take the action, the physical action, like Constance not bringing home the bread. But when you work with spirit, you're basically working on two different planes at the same time. And that was probably the biggest thing about the visual manifestation system that I created and talked about in all the books. And it's really working with spirit, but it's also about eating healthier, drinking more water, getting outside in nature, exercising and raising your vibration. Because when you're not feeling well, the biggest thing you need to work on besides your thought is you got to get your vibration up. And you get your vibration up by moving and getting active and taking action. And you don't just sit at home and read about this stuff. You get up and you do it.
yeah, and kind of like what Robin did, your wife. Remember Pete when she came on the show to share, she wanted to start running again, and she would run from one telephone pole to the next, just to get moving. And so for listeners, your action step doesn't have to be gigantic, but that step is, like I'm not bringing bread home. And like P said, I ain't going out to get bread once I get home. I made a decision. And so, Pete, I believe that people are taking the action steps, but even just sort of sit in silence, that God would download to you, do this, stop eating sugar, stop, stop this, start this, and it would be downloaded to people what their action steps should be.
Oh, absolutely, Constance. That's the biggest thing. And for a lot of people, they don't realize that when you get those little tweaks or whatever, those little, impulses or prompts, that's spirit talking to you. So it's like, pay attention to that because, it's like, and for people who may not, they might be, let's say you're bedridden. Gosh, I hope not. But anyways, let's say you are temporarily. Well, start exercising in your mind. And before you know it, you're going to be putting your feet on the floor and you're going to be walking across your room. And before you know it, you'll be outside walking, around the facility or in a park. And every day your health is getting better and better and better because you're taking the action and you're making a difference in your own life.
Well, that's so interesting. That reminds me when I guess 10 years ago when I tripped and I hurt my ankle, and the doctor said you won't ever wear heels again. And I was in a cast in a walking boot, and the young lady who was helping me be sort of being a housekeeper, I told her, I said, bring my heels for me, and I would put my on my good foot, Pete, I would put on my high heel, and I had my other one right there so I could see it. And in my mind, I said, I'm gonna wear you again one day.
Oh, Constance, I love that because that's a perfect example of don't listen to what these people tell you,
Hmm.
because it's like, let me tell you, Constance is not hopping around on one high heel anymore.
Mm.
So complete recovery, didn't listen to the people that know everything and decided to create her own reality. And great job, Constance.
Thank you. So what's number three? What can people do to begin reclaiming their perfect health?
Okay, the third step is focus, and what that comes down to is, and I mean by focus is most people focus on what they don't want, or they focus on. This book is on healing, so we'll talk about that, and it's focusing on, let's say, focusing all your attention on the illusion of disease that you have. So it's like all your attention is going on the disease. You're talking about it, and all you're doing is just giving it more and more energy. And basically, it's like fanning a fire. It's like if you want that fire to go out, stop fanning it. Don't give your attention to it, and just focus on the fact instead that you have perfect health and you're getting healthier and healthier every single day, and focus on that rather than spend your time on the "oh woe is me" thing, because "oh woe is me" is not gonna make you healthier. Trust me.
And Pete, that I'm not saying that that's easy, because if somebody is going to chemo or really, really sick, or maybe getting over surgery, disease and sickness is so loud and so looming. So are you saying, kind of like I did, they need to get a focus of the health that they want? What would that look like?
Exactly. Excuse me, Constance.
Go ahead.
It's like, like you just said, it's like when it's super scary. Like I've had friends that go through those treatments, and it's like they feel horrible because the treatments or the medication, whatever you want to call it, is just making them feel even sicker, which is horrible. But it's just, instead of focusing on that, focus in on that you're working with spirit and you're getting healed, and it's just like, and it's a process, and and stay with it and know that it's coming to you, and instead of it's like celebrate your great health, and don't start making final arrangements. Just get out of that mindset. It's just like you're in it to win it, and you're not gonna quit until you get there.
And something as small as I'm getting better and better every day. I mean, just to change your focus. I was determined. I am going to wear these heels. It was probably vanity, Pete, but I saw myself. I didn't know how. I mean, I was in a wheelchair because I couldn't put any weight on my foot, but I didn't see myself like, I would focus in on, okay, I'm going to wear these heels with that dress. I mean, because that's all I could do because I was lying up in my bed. So for listeners, begin to focus on, like Pete said, what is perfect health going to look like for you?
Oh, Cons, that's such a great example with the heels again, because you got into the visualization. You saw yourself, wearing those heels again. And I know to some listeners, it's like people think like, oh, affirmations, they're not really that powerful. Well, I got news for you. Affirmations are extremely powerful, and it reverses that energy of negativity and starts putting you on the forward path of feeling good and having better and better energy. And that you're well on your way to having perfect health again. But you've got to reverse that spiral, which is, it's like if you let it get out of control, it's just going to keep dragging you down, and you just need to like put a stop to it, and like you know what, I control my thoughts, and I'm going to focus on healing and my perfect health, and I'm going to stay with it until it shows up.
You know, something just came to my mind, Pete. James Powers. You met James Powers, you
Oh
know,
yeah, great guy.
and you know, he would, as a pastor, when he would go in the hospital, he would, and if a person was really, really sick, tell us, because I would go and pray and help him out. He said, "Now, Constance, when you go in, just stay 5 minutes. Don't even ask how are you feeling." He said, because that means the person has to say over and over and over again, well, this is what the doctor said. He said, just go in, pray for him, and believe. So when people have to over and over repeat about the sickness and the disease and this is what I'm doing, that makes that focus bigger on the disease than on the healing.
Oh, absolutely, Constance, and it's almost like a negative affirmation. And
Yeah.
that was wonderful advice from James Powers. It's just like, don't ask him about it. It's like, if you want to ask him about, here, let them get positive about things. It's like, well, how are you feeling today? Oh, it's getting worse and worse. And it's like, if you say that 20 times in a row, well, guess what? It's going to get worse. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just, the power of your focus. It's just whatever you focus on grows. And if you want perfect health and healing, focus on that. Don't focus on the illusion of disease, because put your power to healing, not to something else.
Yeah. What's the next step, Pete?
Oh, the next step is faith, and faith seems pretty simple, but it can be a stretch for some folks. Yeah, I always refer back to I hear a lot of people say things such as, "Well, I hope it gets better." And I'm like, hope is like it's just so weak. It's almost like that's like having no faith at all. It's like, my thing about faith is just, it's like get into the spot. Faith is such that you know that you're healed because you're working with God, and there's nothing God cannot do, period. So it's just like, have faith and trust that every day in every way you're getting healthier and healthier, and stay with it. And just like, it's like God's not going to have you leave out there to hang to dry at all. It's like you start working with Spirit, it's like your life is going to get amazingly good, amazingly fast. But you've got to, believe it. It's like don't get into these self-doubts things. It's like, well, what if this doesn't work? Well, it's like it's gonna work. It's already worked, and now I'm just waiting for my healing to show up in the present.
Yeah. That's great, Pete. And one thing that helps me and what I share with some of my clients is, like you said, I have faith that all things are possible with God. God loves me, God is in me, and God's going to help me. You may have to have faith in God, faith that the perfect way for you to receive your healing will be revealed to you. It's kind of like my little dog Angel with her little diva or self. I mean, it's not anything that I wouldn't do for her to keep her whole and healthy. So if she wasn't feeling well, I wouldn't withhold something from her, you know. So just have faith that I don't know how, but I know all things are possible with God. God is in me. I'm in God. God surrounds me, and my pathway for healing will be revealed to me. To me, that's faith in what will happen.
Constance, that was a great analogy, because when you brought up Angel, and I know how much you love your dog, and I know you would do anything for her,
Hmm.
and that is the same thing with God in all of us. It's God wants the absolute best for you, just
Hmm.
like Constance wants the absolute best for Angel. But the thing is, it's like Constance can't help Angel feel better if Angel runs the opposite direction, jumps over the fence, and keeps running down the road the wrong way. So there's a great message there, and that is, you need to turn to God. Angel needs to turn to Constance to get healing, and you need to turn to God as well to get your healing.
Yeah, and God's got a bad rap. And so I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about church. I'm talking about, you know, no, somebody loves you. Like if Robin needed something and you had it to give to her, if she needed something that would make her feel better, you wouldn't withhold that from her, Pete,
Of
because
course
you
not.
love her. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to take that to the level of love that, the love that God has for each of us is like, it's way beyond the human love thing. So
Yeah.
just imagine that. I mean, how powerful is the infinite? I mean, I don't have words for it.
Yeah. Okay, what's the next step but can begin to do to reclaim their perfect?
Okay, well, Constance, a big part of the book that I talk about is using the techniques that I've developed in the visualization system. And the thing is, it comes right, like every other show I've ever been on with Constance. I'm going to start talking about the hour of power because it's
Oh,
starting.
the good old
Yeah,
hour power.
yeah, the good old hour of power. And,
Hmm.
and everyone's like, I don't have an hour. All right. It's like, well, you don't need an hour. But here's the thing. You need to, if you're going to reclaim your perfect health again, you need to show up every day and work with spirit and be a real player in the game. And it's like, don't just throw it out there to the wind. It's like, well, I hope I have a healing. Get in the driver's seat, drive that bus. It's like, because it's like the more that you do on your part every single day, the faster it's going to materialize in your experience. It's just like working out. If you want to be a tremendous athlete, you got to practice. You got to work out every day. And and those the people that do that kind of stuff achieve amazing success. In all areas of their lives. And right now, what you need to focus on is perfect healing, then you need to do your part every single day. Work with spirit. Do your affirmations. See yourself being healthy, and before you know it, you're gonna be there.
Right, and so that means that you might be sick right now, and you're just getting all kind of reports. Know you need to take time to have an hour. No, television is not going to help you. A lot of times I go in hospitals and, to pray with people, and they got the television on. Nothing wrong with television, but I just believe that when you are in the process of reclaiming something, and specifically we're talking about your health and well-being, you have to be still so that spirit say, okay, this, start taking this herb, get more sleep, drink more water, go to this herbalist or whatever so that you can hear.
Exactly. That's perfect because it's like whenever I really get great information from spirit, it's always when I'm quiet. That's
Yeah.
when that it's like that's when the communication is most clear, and and try to make the hour power for me is just so powerful because it takes me out of the crazy stuff that happens during the day. So right at the beginning of the day, I get the most important stuff out of the way first, and then I can just go about my day. And if you do your work, especially working on your health and healing, right the first thing in the morning or whenever you first can do it in the day, it's powerful, but beyond belief. And read my other books if you want proof in the pudding. I got it.
Yeah. Well, and what's the next step, Pete? What step are we on?
Okay, we're at the sixth step, which is awareness, and the in this step, especially with health and healing, the the awareness is real. Take a look around you, and honestly, get anyone who's negative out of your life, because the last thing you need to do is have, while you're trying to heal yourself or work with spirit to heal yourself, is to have someone who's like just constantly focused on the disease.
Mhm.
I mean, that's how most people are. It's like all they want to talk. It's like, and I know this from experience, guys. And look around because it's like when our friends and family members have the illusion of disease, it's like we want to seem like we care because we do care for them, but we're not helping them at all by just talking to them and asking them more and more about the disease. This is just what James Powers was sharing. It's just like you don't need to talk about it because they're saying this every phone call. Let's say you get 20 phone calls in a day and you're not feeling well. Well, every single one of those 20 phone calls is like, well, what's going on today with the disease? And all it's doing is just making it bigger and bigger and bigger. It's almost like throwing rocks in a bag, and then you're going to try to go swim. I mean, that's how it is. So break away from people that want to only focus on the disease. Hang around with people who empower you and focus on your healing and nothing but.
Yeah.
That's the awareness step.
Powerful. And the last step is what, Pete?
As always, the last step, gratitude. And I could speak for hours on gratitude. And the last step is give thanks now for your perfect healing.
Yeah.
You don't need to wait for the healing to show up to be grateful and say thank you to God for it. And the more you can get into a state of gratitude, trust me, the faster your perfect health is going to show up. Because it's like, it is powerful, way beyond words. The power of gratitude, in my mind, is it's second only to love. I mean, that's it. You have gratitude now for whatever it is that you desire. It's going to show up that faster. That's just how the universe works. It's a law. And Constance and I, we've talked about this so many times in these shows, but it's like there's nothing worse than running into people that, well, I'll be grateful when blank shows up. Well, it's like, well, that's not how it works. If you like that, it'll never show up. Have gratitude now because it's on its way, and before you know it, it's going to be here, and it's just like you're going to feel the same way. The gratitude is going to bring it in like a magnet, and it's if there's nothing else that you do out of all these 7 steps, do gratitude, and it'll work on its own.
Yeah.
But if you really want to crank it up and get the stuff done fast, do all 7. And and gratitude is so awesome because gratitude now for your healing, it's going to take away all the fear that you are temporarily experiencing, and it's going to push it out of the way. Because when you have nothing but gratitude in your heart, there isn't room for anything negative to show up.
Wow, that's powerful. So people are so filled with gratitude, and so they might say, Pete, God, thank you for the healing that's on its way. Thank you for the right pathway for reclaiming my perfect healing. Thank you for more strength and vitality. So if folks would that instead of talking about disease or the lack of well-being, that gratitude and thanksgiving, I call it praise, really just attract to them what's rightfully theirs.
Constantly, I could not have said it any better. That is absolute truth. It's thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and it works. It always works because it's a natural law, and it's your life. As soon as you start having gratitude, your life is going to start getting better. Your health is going to start getting better. You're going to start feeling better, and you're going to get that momentum and run with it and stay with it until your perfect healing does manifest, and it will.
Well, Pete, we're almost out of time. Oh my goodness! But I remember a lady was on my show and she was in a head-on car collision, and she said that of course she said she was in a bed, but then she would say, God, thank you. Thank you, I'm going to be in my wheelchair. Then when she was in a wheelchair, thank you that I'm going to be on crutches. She was thankful for every little progressive move toward reclaiming her health. Now that girl is running. But I believe that Thanksgiving, so people, Thanksgiving for your perfect health is gigantic.
Oh, that's a wonderful story, Constance, and thanks for sharing that because that's the exact thing that I'm talking about, and that lady put it into action, and now she's running. And
Hmm.
she was when the accident happened, they're probably like, well, you'll never walk again. You're gonna never do all these things. And she's just like, well, you can believe that. That's not what I'm gonna believe, and I'm gonna give thanks for my healing and for my perfect health. And she manifested it and is well on her way. Instead of saying, oh, well, I guess I'll never walk. Well, if she made that decision, that would have been her truth, and that wouldn't have been so hot, would it?
No, and okay, so I'm going to come from the Christian perspective. Pete just shared with you, Pete could have been in the pulpit teaching this. I'm just being honest because it's nothing more than spiritual universal laws. And it's nothing more than working with God or spirit, uh, allowing yourself and to reclaim. That word reclaim is strong. It's almost like you got to do something. It almost uh, faith in it or something, right? When you reclaim something, it's like, give me that back. That's mine.
That is perfect, Constance. Give me that back because it's mine. And what people have temporarily given away is they've given away their perfect health temporarily, and it's up to you, the person reading this book, the person listening to this show, the person that needs perfect health. It's up to you to reclaim it. It's there, but you know what? You got to go get it. It's yours. It's like the neighbor that borrowed your lawnmower and didn't give it back.
Oh,
That's
you're in
my
trouble.
lawnmower, and I'm getting it.
Wow. Pete, really quickly, tell people how can they get your new book, what's your website, etc.
Oh, great, Cost. Well, the my website is www.peterdadams.com, and the D is in Delta. And come out and visit our website. We've got some tools for your success, and we're really trying to build our YouTube channel up. And we're putting out a lot of good videos. If you guys haven't read my other books or heard them, you can go to my YouTube channel and just go to YouTube. Just put in the word visual festation, you'll find me, and listen to our books for free. And also, if you want to, have any questions for me specifically,
Right?
feel free to drop me an email. I'm at visualfestation@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to help you out.
Pete, I love you. I love Robin. I thank God for you, and I know that this is really gonna change the lives of people. Thank you so much for being on my show again.
Thanks so much for the privilege, Constance. I I I can't tell you how much I enjoy sharing this knowledge with other folks to help them achieve greater success and health and abundance in all areas of their life.
And that's why you guys are successful. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And as I say every week, you may not know it or feel it, but you are surrounded by and supported by the love of God or Spirit. And of course, you know that I'm crazy about you and that I adore you and believe in you. And say this with me, guys, something good is going to happen to me this week and through me. Make it a great week.